Hi, it's Todd Rutledge with Legendary Homes, and we're doing this live question and answer seminar. Um, I'll start out just explaining some things that we do. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. Um, we're located south of Jackson, Michigan on 127, um, about 5 miles north of 12. And then also that address is 10197 South Meridian Road, Clark Lake, Michigan. And then also we're located in Lansing, Michigan, and that is um, 725 Edgewood Boulevard. And that is, you take Cedar Street, and that turns into Edgewood off 96. And it butts up to 96. So check out both locations. We're open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, noon to 5, and Saturday, 10 to 2. So one of the biggest questions we get quite often is, what are the first steps to get started? And so the biggest thing is to find land. We kind of need to know the location, because there are a lot of different, sometimes costs can be different in different areas, and some townships are higher costs, such as building permits, and um, septic systems is another thing that can cost more. So we just kind of need to know the location of the land. And then the second thing would be the floor plan that you're looking to build. And then from there, we need to figure out, like, if you're looking at basement or a crawl space. If it's a basement, then it might be a walkout. So we need to know, if it's a walkout, we have to figure out, like, how much of it's gonna be walkout, and what you want for doors and windows and that kind of stuff. And then if you want a garage or no garage. So those are things we need to kind of determine to be able to figure out what pricing to do. I like to try to get all the on-site costs put together, and then we can meet at one of the locations and go through the upgrades, the options, and figure out exactly what you're wanting done on the house. And then once we have that, and then that will be the paperwork that we would sign, and that you'll need to take to the bank, and the signed contract. So basically, the figuring out, the location, it generally takes 6 to 8 weeks most times for the house to be built, once we get all the everything determined and the sign off. Sometimes some parts of the year it can be a little longer. And then, so during that time, if you have your financing through, then we'll get started with getting permits, and then getting the foundation put in. And then once the house comes offline, we'll have it scheduled to deliver and then set. And once it's set, it typically takes 60 to 90 days to get things completed. Depends on how much work. If there's garages and porches, it might take a little longer, but typically that's around what it usually takes. It also comes down to how long it takes to get power. Power can take some time. They're not the quickest, so it's important to get things in line as far as having this underground service paid for can help ahead of time. And then, so that way, once the house is set, we've got to get the electric service put on the house, and that's got to be inspected. And then, so once that's inspected, that's usually like the last thing that's needed for them to get their scheduling done. So pretty much that's kind of it for the process. Another thing is, like, we need to, if you have a survey for the property, that helps. And then the site evaluation, the perk test from the health department, that also determines some of the costs, because we need to know what they're going to require for the septic system. It'll also depend on how many bedrooms it is. A 4-bedroom will require a bigger drain field than a 3-bedroom, and so we need to know. And then the soil too is what especially makes a difference. If it's sandy, then it's generally a standard system. If it's clay or a high water table, that's when it can get higher in cost. Also, other counties like Washtenaw County can be a higher cost for the septic system because they require a bigger drain field and 2 tanks, versus most other areas is 1 tank, 1,500-gallon tank, and typically around 1,000 square foot drain field. So that's kind of the main things. If there's any questions or anything, if not, I guess I'll finish up here. And you can always email us. You can sign up on our website to get price sheets and floor plans. Once you sign up, it'll send an email. That's legendaryhomesinc.com, and that will, from that email, you'll be able to click on the link in there, and that takes you to our companies that we offer, and you can click on each company and get the information on each company. And so that's be sure to stop in and let us know if you have any questions, and thanks for watching. Oops.